Hey guys, it's Romulus here, and today we're going to try something different because I normally talk about multiple songs at least when I do album reviews or best lists or even year-end lists in general. But today we're going to be talking and diving into one specific song. And before we get started, I'm going to apologize if this is a bit awkward with my delivery and cadence because this is completely unscripted as I've just had today to listen to it as the song did literally come out the day I'm recording this, which is the 26th of April. So, what song could have garnered so much attention from me and the public that I would have to rush a video within one day, 24 hours, to be able to cover it and want to analyze it? Ooh, should I talk about this? I don't know. Let's see what other hits are there right now. I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Are there any albums that have just been released? Any new albums that are going to be fun? Oh, thank you for coming to my birthday party. Looks like Taylor Swift it is. That's right, Taylor Swift's back, and this time the old her is truly dead. And by that I mean the new old version of her that came out through Reputation. She seems to have done a complete 180 on her image. And just some quick context here, I am a pretty big Taylor Swift fan. I don't know if you guys knew that. In 2018 I did rate Delicate as one of my favorite singles of the year. But I've always been a big Taylor Swift fan. I've liked her country albums, and controversially maybe, I've liked her pop stuff more, being able to actually defend Red, and one of the only critics on the scene who might be able to say they enjoy that album. But obviously 1989 is probably her best album to date, and I would say it is an upward trajectory starting from back when she was in country all the way to 1989, just a giant upward hill when it comes to quality, just like Ariana Grande had. But just like Ariana Grande, she released an album that was more personal and a bit more controversial in the form of Reputation, which, if we ignore the fact that AGR exists with their albums like The Click and that new album that's set to come out during around the summertime, that might have been the worst pop album of the decade. It was quite bad, mainly because she gave in to her ego and gave into the public and just lashed out and really went quite dark, had some quite bad lyrics, and showed that when she tries to go pop diva mode, it just doesn't work. It feels forced and evil in all the wrong and non-playful ways. So with Taylor Swift going back to a more happier time and a more pop-friendly sound, I should be able to like this, right? Well, not quite. See, that's where we get into a second form of Taylor Swift, which I do not like, which is the times where she way too peppy and completely flips that around by being way too positive, go-getter attitude, and the more kid-friendly vibe that you get from songs like We're Never Getting Back Together or Shake It Off. If I had to describe this with mashing up two songs, I would say the song is literally just gorgeous from her last album, Reputation, and We're Never Getting Back Together. Just merging those two songs together is a pretty accurate description of this song. With that being said, though, there are definitely some good things about this song. It is not the worst thing in the world. Taylor Swift's voice is still pretty good, and she's always had that as a strong suit. She's still using that here, and the one thing throughout all of her career I could say is that she's always had a pretty beautiful and passionate voice. Even when it is for this type of bubblegum pop, she can sell it pretty well. I would say Brendan Urie's part here is good, and I honestly, on like a technical level, I think he is the better part compared to Taylor Swift on this song. But there is a bit of a problem in the fact that a certain YouTuber, the Diamond Axe Studios, check him out if you haven't, said a while ago that Marshmello has become the generic kids act by default for the mainstream pop. And I would like to disagree with him on that and say that Brendan Urie has become that with singles like High Hopes overshadowing all of his other great achievements on Panic at the Disco, and now songs like this have shown that Brendan Urie has gone completely unquestionably sellout mode, and it's starting to damage his older Panic at the Disco reputation from that. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the fact that Brendan Urie, after over 10 years of having only mild success, has become a breakout star in 2018-2019. It's just I wish he was doing it with his old style of Panic at the Disco flavor, and now that might be lost to time, as High Hopes is easily now his most famous song of all time, overshadowing I Write Sins Not Tragedies. But here on this song, he does seem happy, and I will give him that. He is definitely selling the part, because Brendan Urie, he's always been a bit of a method actor when it comes to these types of things. He's even been in Kinky Boots, a Broadway production. Now, here's where we get into the first major con I have with this, and probably the most frustrating when it comes to being a Taylor Swift fan, which is the writing of this song. Now, Taylor Swift's biggest strength for the longest time, up until Reputation, was her writing. She was a great songwriter. It harkened back to her country days when most country people have better songwriting talents than other genres, and their ability to be folksy storytellers. And transitioning into pop, that always gave her an edge over other artists such as Katy Perry, Selena Gomez, and allowed her to show depth and passion. But here, going into complete bubblegum, chirpy, even Katy Perry-esque pop mode. I've seen some comparisons from this being a Katy Perry song. I'm not quite sure about that. It isn't tacky enough to be a Katy Perry song, but it does have the same writing flaws as those. It's generic. It's not even that generic. It's just not fleshed out enough. And the one part on the bridge, that is insanely bad. When she goes, spelling is fun. I sigh every time I hear that part. It is honestly just annoying. It may have just been thrown in there to hope that it could become a meme, but the problem is there. You can never force a meme into existence. It just happens on its own, so that was destined to fail from the beginning. One thing I will point out, though, is while it is bubblegum pop, I'm kind of glad we have that back, because the past couple of years in mainstream have been depressing. It's not just in the pop scene, but in general, when it comes to politics, world events, and just in general life. So, the fact that we're actually getting some happy music to bring it back, with even people like BTS, who I still don't understand, get actual mainstream success in the US, and people like Brendan Urie and Taylor Swift are getting hits, making happy and positive music, I think we may be hitting into a new era of music, and for Taylor Swift specifically, it is better than Reputation. It's better than 90% of the songs on Reputation, probably save Delicate and Getaway Car. So overall, at the end of the day, I'm thinking a solid 2 out of 5. It is nothing special or great from Taylor Swift. It is still disappointing compared to her glory pop days on Red and 1989. So I just have to wait for the album. Hopefully there are some deep cuts or even later singles that reflect a great style from Taylor Swift, and hopefully she doesn't become too tacky like Katy Perry.